Yeah, before we start dissecting chaos, I just wanted to read Genesis 1 2 for all of the viewers because it's a very short verse and it's the core verse of today's episode and the next one because I don't think we'll finish everything today. Okay, so Genesis 1 2, the earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Okay. One of the chaos synonyms that I drew from all these scholars are without form, void, darkness, the deep, and I believe we can easily put here the abyss, the waters, the sea, Rahab or Leviathan, and the great sea creatures. Uh, would you would you agree or not that these are good synonyms? And is there anything more to this lengthy list that can help us understand chaos better? Because in order to understand something or even form a doctrine, as we know, for example, like with the Trinity, there does not have to be necessarily a word in the Trinity. Well, this is the Trinity, let me explain it to you. Rather, we compile words, similar teachings from the whole Bible when we form all these doctrines. So what is there anything else that we can add when it comes to this topic and this phrase? Any other synonym that can resemble the word, maybe even in a better way?
Yeah, so usually you're associating chaos with the sea dragon and the waters, which I think that is primarily kind of our go-to ideas. But you can also loop in the idea of wilderness, because the idea of wilderness is very similar to the idea of how they would be viewing the waters, as these places are, you can't live there, they're not good for life. And so I think that's also an idea that we need to be pulling in. And you can also kind of see in these ideas that the cosmological structure of the ancient world, right? They had the heavens, they had the earth, they had the underworld, but the underworld was also associated with the deep, the abyss, the chaotic waters of the sea. And in Genesis, you actually don't see God declaring anything good until he separates the sea from away from the land. Then finally something is declared as good. So it's really these little subtle things. Like you could read Genesis 1 and say, I don't see chaos in there at all, or I barely see it, and it's kind of just kind of a sideline. It's not important, but I would beg to disagree with that. I think it's very important, and I think it's very deeply embedded. But because it's so deeply embedded in the imagery and the thinking, we're not going to necessarily pick up what they're laying down when we read from these authors.